Welcome to Ureeka Connect. It would have been tax day, and since it's not, we now can all do something else with our money, which is invest in women business owners. We are thrilled tonight to have another version of Ureeka Connect. If this is the first time you're joining us, let me tell you a little bit about the program. Ureeka is a platform that is designed to create community for entrepreneurs and to democratize access to economic opportunity. The entire point of the platform is to provide access to peers, mentors, and coaches to help small businesses grow. The Connect program is part of our commitment to make sure that those who are typically underserved and overlooked have access to financing. And so much like your typical pitch competitions, that is what Ureeka Connect is, except we go a step further. This is not just about making a flashy presentation, but about building relationships and social capital between entrepreneurs and investors. And so tonight, I'm thrilled to have 3 companies that are investor ready, that will share their businesses and will talk with investors about the opportunity that presents itself. Unlike a pitch competition, everybody is potentially a winner. The way it works, as we've done this before, is that we have companies share their pitch and investors ask questions. And at the end, we say, are you interested in continuing the conversation or do you wish to pass? What we find is that many entrepreneurs make lots of pitches and presentations, but they don't get the invaluable feedback they need to be able to make adjustments and course corrections. And so the point of this program is to provide meaningful connections and feedback so that entrepreneurs can ultimately be successful. I'm extremely proud to say that we are 100% so far, no pressure on either side, but everyone that is presented has received a match. And so on March 18th, we had Wellfound Foods, Honey Funds, Jimmy, and Glamlight. And our investor, because we were looking at the food and beverage section, was Swan and Legend. And so tonight, we're even more excited and hoping to go for that same success rate. So what I want to do now is ask the investors who have joined us, and we are deeply grateful for your presence, to be able to introduce yourselves, and then we'll kick it off with the presenters. Tonight's competition are for investors that are interested in companies that are focused or run by women or support women. So all of our entrepreneurs, as you can see, are women, but they have the opportunity to support women as well through their business. They're looking to raise a stage round seeking anywhere between $25,000 to $1 million. And we are agnostic in terms of how that investment is deployed, whether it's through convertible note equity or some other tool. And so to get us started, we have an amazing roster of investors that will be listening to pitches, then have 5 minutes for Q&A. And then when it's all over, you'll figure out who they actually were interested in continuing to talk to. So I'm going to go in order. First up, we are thrilled because Golden Seeds has been consistent and an amazing partner in this process. Happy to introduce Deborah Doyle. Deborah, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and thanks for being here.
Sure. In fact, I think you presented at one of the Golden Seeds forums a few years ago, right?
Yes.
That's great. So yeah, I'm Deborah Doyle. I've been with Golden Seeds for 4 years. Golden Seeds is focused on women-led, women-founded businesses. It's been around for 15 years. It's already in I think we have 300 members now and about 125 million invested in 170 companies. And we're very active. And in fact, we're all on a major sort of COVID alert right now to help our existing investments prepare, think through, plan for what's going on right now. My own background is actually in payments. I was in financial services for 35 years, but the last 20 was in payments. And I think is that good for me?
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to reiterate that Golden Seeds is an amazing organization that is specifically focused on women entrepreneurs. So again, grateful to have you. I'm happy to introduce another group and the leader of that group who represents amazing women who also want to invest in other women, Christina Francis from Pipeline Angels. Thank you for joining us, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I'm Christina Francis. I'm in Northern Virginia, focused on pre-seed, seed companies founded by women and non-binary femme, women of color. I've been with Pipeline Angels for about 3.5 years, actually 4 years now. To date, we've invested in over $6 million worth in companies, 70 companies, and growing. We too are doubling down on some of our portfolio companies. I also wear two other hats with a pre-seed fund here in the DC area called the Marathon Fund, as well as Black Girl Venture. So excited to be here and hear everyone's pitches. My background, I spent prior to the work that I'm doing now, I spent 20 years management consulting, focused on building businesses around software development, engineering, and cyber. So that's another area that I help companies with in terms of technical implementation.
Awesome, and thank you for coming back. We are deeply grateful. Next up, at least I've learned now to say where I think you live versus where you may be quarantined. So next up is Alyssa Gale from Next Gen Venture Partners. Thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, so Next Gen Venture Partners is a venture capital firm based most primarily here in the DC area, but also distributed across the country. We invest at the early stages between $750K and $2 million in companies across industries. And we do so with the participation of 1,200 venture partners across the country who are top operators, founders, et cetera. And they are able to help our portfolio companies through introductions and through their expertise. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And last, but certainly not least, I want to welcome Mary Schrader from MCS Ventures. Look forward to hearing more about you, Mary. Thanks for making time.
Oh, no, I'm really happy to be here. So, yeah, I'm really running my own venture capital firm. I tend to be a little bit more in the kind of late seed, early Series A, if you will. I do focus on consumer goods companies, and I do continue to focus on women founded companies. I've just returned to the US about a year ago. I had just been in Asia for 18 years, investing in private equity and distressed companies, and also ran my own consumer goods company there. So I have investor experience and then also been an entrepreneur myself. And so while in DC, I look to invest in companies across the country. Most recently, I invested in Black Girl Sunscreen, which I understand has been associated with Ureeka, and then I do mentoring of with founder-run companies as well. Hopefully, gets them to a point where they're ready to bring on investors like myself.
That is awesome. Love Asia. And thank you. Yes, Black Girl Sunscreen was one of our success stories from the last competition. So truly appreciate your presence here tonight. So the companies, I'm just going to give a high level overview and then we will jump right in to get to meet them. We have three amazing companies. We have Sarah Frimpong of Wellfound Foods. We have Undra Duncan of Undra, Celeste, New York. And we have Jamila Achipong of Kahmune that have joined us as well. So we are thrilled to have you ladies and we are ready to get started. I should just remind folks that the pitch is 7 minutes and we will be keeping track of that time. The judges will have 5 minutes for Q&A, and then after each presentation, the best part is that you who are watching, and thank you for joining us, will get a chance to answer a question. We'll run a poll after each one that says, would you recommend this company to an investor? So you'll get a chance to share your feedback based on what you heard from these presentations. And if you haven't already joined the Ureeka community, we would love to have you because we're always looking for amazing companies for this program. So without further ado, first up, Sarah of Wellfound Foods.
Excellent. Melissa, thank you much for the introduction. It's good to meet all of you. My name is Sarah Frimpong, and I'm the CEO and founder of Wellfound Foods. Wellfound is grounded in a really simple idea. We believe that people should never have to sacrifice quality for convenience. Specifically, what Wellfound does is we make modern grab-and-go food for wholesale distribution to retailers and for retail distribution to our company-owned contactless vending machines. Our business has been operating for about 7 years now. And on the wholesale side, our clients include national brands like Peet's Coffee and Tea, Phil's Coffee, as well as local institutions like American University. We have raised $200,000 to date from accredited investors like yourselves. So you've been there. I think that you have been sitting in an airport terminal, maybe even a hospital waiting room when hunger struck. And the only options that were available to you were going to have what I describe as a negative impact on your health's bottom line for that day. The truth is that you're not alone. In fact, 63% of 3% say that eating right is a challenge. That's the problem that we're working to solve right now at Wellfound, and we believe the solution to that problem is our Wellfound Smart Fridge. The Wellfound Smart Fridge is at its core a 24/7 tech-enabled contactless restaurant. It takes modern technology and it applies that to the vending machine in order to increase access to fresh and healthy food. And our smart fridge sits at the intersection of two major markets. The first market is the fast casual market, which is characterized by fresh and healthy food. The second market is the vending machine market, which is characterized, I think we can all agree, by overly processed junk. The vending machine market is in fact stagnant in terms of growth. Right now, the only growing segment of that market is healthy food, and it accounts for just 9.3% of that $7 billion in revenue. For that reason, we believe at Wellfound that there is a huge opportunity for a company that can take the trends of the fast casual market and apply that to the vending machine market to increase access to fresh and healthy food. The fresh and healthy food segment is still very much in its early stages. The longest company to date is Farmer's Fridge. They began operations in 2013. Other entrants of note are much smaller. They each have about 50 fridges deployed and only began operations in late 2018, early 2019. Wellfound is the only operator doing this concept in the immediate market region. And to that end, we believe the immediate market opportunity is worth an estimated 12 million or about 210 fridges. To get to that number, I use two different approaches. Our first approach is what I call the Farmer's Fridge approach. For that approach, we looked at the home market of Farmer's Fridge, which is Chicago, and we calculated the fridges per capita there. We took that ratio and we applied that to the DMV, and that's how we got to about 210 fridges that this market could support. Our second approach was a little bit more targeted. Verticals for placement. So those are verticals like transportation hubs, which include your train stations and your airports. It includes healthcare, higher education, and then commercial real estate. We estimated about how many companies in those verticals exist in the immediate market region. And then we estimated about how many fridges each of those kinds of verticals could support. Based on those two approaches, we again landed at this market being able to support about 210 fridges, which got us to the $12 million immediate market opportunity. We currently have our longest standing placement of a fridge that is at MedStar Georgetown Hospital, and that fridge has been placed since September of last year. With little investment in improving operations or marketing, that fridge has been able to achieve a 38% gross margin and is doing just $900 a week in revenue. And all of the money that we're working on raising right now is directly targeted towards improving our unit economics. So with the money we're raising right now, we believe that we can achieve a 51% gross margin at the machine and increase our weekly revenue at a machine to 1.1K. We are really excited and passionate about this opportunity because the unit economics just make sense. A single fridge is going to pay for itself in 7 months, and it has an 146% internal rate of return. Our goal in year one is to place 21 machines in this immediate market. We really want to set a solid foundation and get a lot of learnings that are going to allow us in year 2 and 3 to fully saturate the market and reach that full market opportunity of 210 fridges. In years 4 and 5, our strategy is to expand south into cities like Raleigh and Charlotte and Atlanta. And from there, we'll expand north in years 5 and 6 into the mid-Atlantic and of course hit New York City, Philadelphia, and New Jersey. And all of these operations can happen from the same centralized commissary kitchen in DC. So our business is uniquely qualified to be a first mover on the fresh food vending opportunity in this market, but then also a second mover nationally. Having operated for 7 years, we have established and proven product market fit. We also have the existing distribution and production infrastructure to rapidly capitalize on this opportunity in a way that others in this region simply can't. In total, we are raising $650,000. 400 of that is going to be allocated towards purchasing and placing those 20 fridges. 200K will be for operating capital to support those fridges. $30,000 will be to bring our distribution in-house. That's going to enable us to increase that gross margin to 51%. In addition, we'll also be investing in an allocation algorithm, which will in essence allow us to ensure that every item we produce in our kitchen, we're sending that to the fridge in our network where that item has the highest likelihood of selling. That's also going to increase our gross margin and get us to that 51% that I estimated before. And that is my presentation. Thank you guys very much. And I'm looking forward to answering all your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And as always, you leave us time to spare, so we appreciate that. I'm going to open it up to the judges. What I'll do is I'll just call you in order so that we're not tripping over each other, and then we'll hopefully be able to make a couple of rotations. So Deborah, we'll start with you.
Maybe you could tell us what you're thinking about in terms of exit opportunity and what sort of KPIs and a potential purchaser would be looking for before the company would be ready for exit.
Absolutely. So I see a few different ways that we could exit, really two. The first is that we could be purchased by one of the major food service operators. That would be the Compass Group or a Sodexo or an Aramark. Companies have vending arms. And to be clear here, these companies and their vending arms, they sell sandwiches out of vending machines and salads and things of that nature. But those foods have like 2-week-long shelf lives and no one's buying that stuff because it's just not good. Inevitably, they're going to have to upgrade to doing a model like what we're doing. And if we can, figure out that model now and really create a lot of market density, have a big network of fridges placed, have the operations behind it, I think we're going to be an exit opportunity. I think we're going to have an exit opportunity or an acquisition that will make a lot of sense for them. I think the second way we can potentially exit is by other entrants coming into the market and wanting to be in this immediate market of the DMV. If we can own this market in the next 3 years, have our 210 fridges placed, really build a brand, I think any company that wants to do fresh food vending in DC will have to go through us. And that could also be a potential exit opportunity for us as well.
One more question on competition. You didn't put Starbucks as a competitor, and yet when I look at some of your offerings, it takes me to Starbucks. Like the sandwich with the packet with the boiled egg and the cheese and the fruit and
Sure.
And even the sandwiches. But you don't have them as a competitor.
Yeah, I don't think they're a direct competitor. When I think about fresh food vending and the value of what we're doing, it's that this is a small footprint machine. It's unattended, it's contactless, and it can go in a lot of places where Starbucks might not be able to put even their smallest kiosk. And so I do think it's a little bit different. I think it has a different value proposition to the clients that we're talking to when they're putting those locations in. I will also say we have the same kind of categories of product. I think our products are very different though, if you look a little bit more closely at the menu as well.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Mary, how about you?
Yeah, I wanted to get in a little bit more into the actual rollout and, which venue locations you're thinking about, also just generally how you're staging it in the context of different channels. I've actually done this with my own business. I had a food business, or I have a food business in Asia. We did expand into the vending business, and it does take a little bit of time to figure out which kind of products fit in different venues. So I'm really keen to talk in a little bit more detail as to how you're rolling it out in different channels and how you're learning from that, and then how you scale it from there.
Absolutely. So our longest standing placement is at Georgetown MedStar Hospital. So that's our healthcare. We also have a machine at Washington Hospital Center. We have a machine at George Mason University in Fairfax. And we had 2 machines at the convention center. I say had only because it's closed right now. And that's kind of our event segment. So in terms of how we're rolling those out and how we're managing the sales process, I've managed the sales process for our company since we began. And so I have experience working with national brands to, cold calling folks down the road. So our sales cycle has been able to move relatively quickly once we're able to make a connection with the place that we want to place the fridge with, and then we're able to expand through that network. One of the benefits of what we do is that we have our commissary kitchen. We've been operating as a wholesale manufacturer. And so we have a big menu of 23 items that we make and produce 364 days a week. Our kitchen only closes on Christmas Day. And so to that end, we've been able to start off a fridge with a full assortment of products, every salad, every grain bowl, every overnight oats, And then based off of what's selling and what's wasting, we're able to adjust the assortment and really create a menu for a specific location with what's going to work there. And because again, our menu is so wide, we have a lot of different things to pick and choose from to create that perfect menu for that client.
Awesome. Alyssa.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Thought it was really great. I would love to hear more about the shelf life of the food and the kind of logistics you were just touching on around replacing food within the smart fridge and maintaining it. Would love to hear more.
Yeah, so the shelf life of all of our food is 3 to 4 days. In terms of the logistics of how we're managing that, like I just mentioned, we deliver, or I should say we produce our food 364 days a year. And we do overnight delivery, so between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m., 6 days a week. We don't deliver on Sunday nights. So to that end, we are able to touch this entire region through the trucks every night. We establish a schedule for each location based on how quickly it's moving through product. And then we also, because we know the shelf life of all of our products, we're able to schedule those pickups. So we have yet to have an issue where, you know, we left a sandwich in too long, we didn't pick up that waste. That being said, because of our wholesale operation, everything is labeled and dated. And so we're able to manage kind of the waste pickup in several different ways, if that makes sense.
Cool. And then Christina, we'll see if you have questions, and then we'll see if anybody else has any last one before we keep going.
I do. Thank you, Sarah, for the presentation. I'm curious on the life cycle of the actual vending machine and maintenance. Yeah. So who's actually, who maintains the vending machine itself?
So we maintain the vending machines. When we talk to our clients, we say, look, it's a turnkey solution. Tell us where the machine will go, make sure there's enough power. We'll do it. We'll take care of everything from there. So we are doing the maintenance on the machines. The machines do have an estimated 7-year life. That said, you know, we haven't hit 7 years on the machine yet. And so I can't really speak to, to all the different things that are going to come up. I guess ask me in a few months. But so far it's been very smooth maintenance to take care of the machines.
And then from a staffing perspective, talk to me a little bit about how that's structured. Is it per location, per vending machine, or per items that you're selling at that location?
Sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, just in terms of how you're staffing and the number of hours, man hours, individuals needed to actually maintain and support a vending machine versus a location.
Absolutely. So there is almost no difference. When we rolled out, you know, our 3 machines, we did not have to hire a single extra person. Okay. In the last 7 years, we have just gotten very efficient at doing what we do, which is making food efficiently and getting it out the door. The great thing about the vending machines, and why frankly I get so excited about them, is that we are literally becoming our own client. You know, we'll deliver to 27 Pete's in a night, and then we say, hey, also deliver to these 3 machines. And we get to keep that margin when we sell that product from the machine. And so for us, in terms of staffing, we've really not had to add on extra people. Through this raise, we do have plans to hire additional people to support us as we grow with the machines. But all this hires are going to be paid for out of cash flow.
Okay. And then just one last question. I saw you had, I think, between 5 and 13% food waste. I like the fact that you're using algorithms. How are you looking at identifying locations based on foot traffic post-COVID?
Yeah, so post-COVID, that's certainly what we're all talking about. Where does it make sense to put a machine? Frankly, that conversation is still kind of rolling. You know, we're looking at the healthcare segment particularly and saying we need to put all of our focus right now on putting machines there. And we were really lucky to be able to have these machines that are frankly pretty easy to move compared to a brick and mortar store. We weren't at Washington Hospital Center until about 2 days before things really got crazy with COVID. They called us with a need. We went to the convention center. We put a machine, you know, on a gurney thing, and we moved it out. Like, we were just able to move the asset. So right now our focus post-COVID is certainly on healthcare. And from there, I think we'll kind of figure out as things open up where we want to go. But there are a lot of healthcare facilities in this region that we can hit before we have to think about other places.
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other last minute questions before I move on? Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sarah. And I know people are giving recommendations and asking questions in the QA and the chat, so we welcome that as well. But this is where you who are watching get a chance to kind of cast your own vote. So now we're going to go to a poll. which is, would you recommend the company to an investor? And this is specifically for Sarah and Wellfound Foods. I have to remember to eat before I do these, because every time we have a food company, I'm like, wow, I wish I had that vending machine in my house right now. To be sure to vote, and we will share the results at the end, so you can see how many of you out there are stacking, how you're stacking compared to our investors. So we appreciate your continued feedback and support. Next up, we have Undra Duncan of Undra, Celeste, New York. Undra, whenever you are ready, we look forward to hearing more about your presentation.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Undra Duncan, and I am the, okay, hold on, there I go. I am the founder and creative director of Undra Celeste, New York, a modern workwear brand for multicultural women. I spent over 15 years in the fashion industry doing brand management and product development. During my time in the industry, I noticed that women of color, their distinct style and unique perspectives were largely ignored. This led me to start Undra Celeste in 2015, a fashion brand that empowers women to show up every day as their authentic self. In 2018, I co-designed the first ever LeBron James and Nike basketball shoe for women by women. Okay, done. Our beloved customer. So my customer is multicultural, college-educated professional women ages 28 to 55, household income between 75K and 150K. She loves color, bold and unique details, but still wants to feel modern and polished. According to a 2018 Nielsen study, multicultural women have a spending power of 1.4 trillion each year and spend a huge on consumer products such as fashion, beauty, self-care, education, travel, and special experiences. But they still generally feel left out of the thought process by most major brands. 70% of women of color buy brands that reflect their style. 52% would pay extra for product that is consistent with the image they want to convey. The brand. So Undra Celeste designs workwear for the modern multicultural women. As our numbers continue to grow in managerial position, they often feel the need to check their personalities, hair, style, and culture at the front desk. Undra Celeste is a clothing brand that addresses the need for women to be themselves while also presenting a modern and polished look. We figured that whether she's just starting her career, transitioning to something new, or spent decades running the show, she still wants to feel like her authentic self. Modern workwear is polished, timeless, strong, fun, with a hint of sexy, just like the women we service. Hold on. Okay. So here are just a few of notable mentions and press we received over the years. One thing I wanted to highlight is that I am currently one of 3 designers, finalists to a part of a Chase competition to redesign the Chase Bank uniforms. So this super on-brand collaboration would allow me to dress over 40,000 Chase Bank employees in Undra Celeste design uniform. This is really, really exciting. Okay, so now to get to the numbers, really easy. In 2018, we made $26,000, net profit of $4,800 with the 18% profit margin. Hold on. We increased our web traffic from the prior year 500%, and our sales increased 200%. Hold on. Okay. So I just wanted to show you this. So last year we worked with Ureeka to do a super targeted Facebook ad campaign. The first campaign was for 60 days. We achieved a CPA of $145, an average order value of $175, which compared to an average order value of $95 without the ads. Keep in mind, we can't track all sales. For example, if someone sees the ad on a mobile device, but buys on a laptop, we can't track that. Therefore, we like to measure just overall traffic and revenue in conjunction with the paid media. We believe that with a significant ad spend, increased creatives, audience targeting, the numbers will only improve. This, along with our non-paid marketing strategy, I know that we can get the order values up 20% up 20% in the very next month. Conventional marketing. So our conventional non-paid marketing strategy is essentially a communication strategy to develop and maintain brand trust and loyalty using content that is high-end and consistent We'll provide customers with brand relevant information, authentic behind the scenes, sales, and so much more. We've also created an insider program that we found to be very lucrative, where we allow customers who have purchased from us before to get like early access to sales, new collections, and things like that. We've also recently redesigned our website to make the purchasing process really, really seamless. We believe that once customers are aware of the brand, feel nurtured and exclusive, they'll come and purchase from us time and time again. Projections. So really quickly, before I proceed into projections, I think it's necessary to speak about the current environment for retail and online sales with the whole COVID-19 pandemic. It has had an impact on all businesses. Ours has not been exempt. However, we do have a plan to survive. One thing is our communication. We are staying in contact with our customers, letting them know that we're thinking about them, care about them, and we're doing that through email and social media. We've had promotional sales, which have given a good amount of traction. And we've also designed and donated a set of masks, which are also available on our website to purchase individually. Again, so back to the projections. Based on the average order value, I think you skipped ahead. Okay. Based on the average order value of that we ran last year, with just a daily sales goal of $250, we can reach our monthly goals. If we increase our daily monthly goals by only 10%, we're on track to increase our business by 600% in 12 months. Okay, so the next, hold on. All right, so the ask. For the first one, where the two options for investment can be implemented through equity or royalty, we're open to discuss both. The first one is $25,000, which would allow us to do a significant investment in digital marketing, pay for our summer and fall inventory, and successfully implement the non-paid marketing strategies. I believe that we can move the business forward with this conservative investment, which would be a much needed boost. The second scenario is the $40K. This would allow us to allocate a hefty budget of $15,000 for digital marketing. This would help us to do more testing and customer acquisition activities. We would also increase our offerings, our SKUs for summer and fall, and maybe even add a capsule collection for holiday. The main thing I would like to do differently here is hire a social media manager and a virtual assistant. And then the rest of the money, again, would be used for the non-paid marketing and working capital. This investment would be really great only because it allows us to reach more amazing women and let them know just the organic DNA of the brand and become a fashion workwear go-to for them. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I know there's a lot going on in the world. So taking this time to speak with us and hear about our businesses are greatly appreciated. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Undra. I was just about to jump in, but I always like to have the entrepreneurs finish their sentence, but not their paragraph. So I appreciate you closing that out. I just want to know when the shoes are coming, but great to have you. It's amazing to have women who are so accomplished. And I wanted to say amen when you said chase, because I think bankers are the most boring people. So if you can improve their attire, that could make the experience better. Anyway, enough of my personal commentary. Let's hear from the investors. We'll go in a different order. We'll start with you this time, Christina. Questions for Undra?
First of all, really beautiful collection. I love that, and congratulations on the chase. Fingers crossed for you on that one. I'm curious, just with your current customers, what is your retention percentage for the current customers?
And when you say retention percentage, you mean
repeat? I would say repeat customers. Do you know the percent of repeat customers that you have?
Our percentage of repeat customers for last year was basically about maybe 60%. Most of my customers come back, if not all of them. I mean, the thing I've noticed though is that they come back when more people come back, obviously when we're running a sale or some sort of promotion. But right now I do have a good core customer who always comes back for like suiting and jackets, and the suit I'm wearing right now is one of mine. So the reoccurring customer percentage is high. It's the new customer acquisition is where I think that the work needs to be done.
Do you do styling on top of selling your clothes?
Oh, we style and we do everything from top to bottom.
Okay.
We don't, because, you know, obviously we are small, we don't do any personal like styling consulting, but one of the things that I'm excited to start once we're back up and running is styling videos for each collection. So we do have a spring summer collection coming out, and I'm looking to work with a very I don't know, popular, you would call them, influencer, Instagram influencer, who is going to be doing styling videos. So we'll start there with the styling, and then, you know, once we grow, we'd love to do personal styling.
And then last question is, how much inventory do you have right now?
I don't. So the thing is that I don't like to carry a lot of inventory. Right now, I would say I have maybe about a few $1,000s worth of inventory. But even in COVID, like I've been, you know, this website has still been getting quite a few hits. I think it's because of the sales. So we have been even getting rid of that. The thing about our inventory, we do have an inventory kind of like a strategy. So all of our clothes, with the exception of knitwear, is made in New York. Once I do a product run, a lot of it stays at my warehouse, at my factory/warehouse in the city. And then once we run through it, then, you know, we kind of see what are the most popular selling things, and then we reproduce it. I am not in the business of holding a lot of inventory, especially not at this stage in my business.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Good questions as always. Alyssa.
Thanks. So two questions. First is the differentiator of your brand the clothing itself, or that the multicultural woman feels represented by the brand?
A little bit of both. The clothes themselves have a design aesthetic in terms of everything would have, you know, obviously the margin of entry is quality and fit. Those two things you have to start with. But then it's like a lot of things that you won't normally see in workwear, which is really great color, bold detail in the lining, bold and fun details within, whether it be the button, the fabric, the colors. So yes, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. What makes it different is the fabric, but then also is the messaging, how we, you know, we speak to the women that we know by our clothes, and we understand completely of what life is like from 9 to 5 as opposed to 5 to 9, and kind of you should be who you are in all those hours. And so that is done obviously through, you know, the marketing and the messaging and the imagery.
Thank you. And the last question would be, to sell kind of right now through this pandemic, is there any pivot to work from home clothing or loungewear, since people are not necessarily going into the office?
There is, for this brand. I understand that it is hard to do that, but because, you know, this pandemic kind of came and caught us all really off guard really quickly, it would be hard for us to do that from just a logistics standpoint. We create, you know, we create workwear and, you know, after workwear. So to pivot to loungewear is a great idea, but, you know, being small and being not able to do that logistically in terms of production, we have not been able to do that. Our way of dealing with the epidemic is, like I said, it's through communication, it's through talking with our customer. It seems to be working, because even though people can't go anywhere, they're still buying dresses and things of that nature. So, you know, I think at a time like this, everyone wants to know that the brand that they support cares about them, and it's not looking to sell them something else, but looking to know that they're okay. This week, because I did the mask thing, everyone who purchased from me got a mask free with their order. They didn't even know. It's going to be a surprise when they get their package. So okay. I hope that answered.
Thank you.
And that's awesome that you did the mask. We appreciate that. Mary, questions from you.
Congratulations, it's beautiful work. I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about your distribution channels. So sounds like right now you might be doing a lot on your own website, but I'm just wondering if you're looking, you know, 2 to 5 years out, what are your other aspirational distribution channels?
Yeah, so glad that you asked me that. So yes, the primary way that we're distributing the product is through the website. However, in February, there was Market Week. Not sure of the fashion people, but Market Week is basically a time in New York where all of the buyers kind of descend and you know, pick product for their stores for the next season. So I participated in my first showroom, which is a really popular showroom here in New York City, and my brand was actually picked up for about 6 stores. So the next step is retail. But we still will always be direct to consumer. I think it's important for us to, you know, own the communication, the narrative, the product, how they receive the product. One thing that's really special about when you order from Undra Celeste, it comes in great packaging, branded packaging. It's not, you know, thrown into a poly bag. It's all folded tissue paper. And of course, when you sell to retailers, you can't control that experience. But we did think it was important to be in retailers only to get top of mind to new customers. So, you know, I'm based in New York. A lot of on my website, the #1 city is New York and DC. But, you know, we want to reach people all the way, you know, in Texas and New Mexico, and a lot of the stores that actually only one store from New York bought from our collection, our fall 2020 collection, but everyone else is like in other states where we don't have visibility. So, you know, it's kind of, it's something that we know is important, but we do know where the bread and butter comes from. And of course, you always want to keep your margins. In 5 years, the idea, the hope is to do, but in a very strategic way, to do Undra Celeste retail locations.
Awesome. And we're running out of time, but I don't want Mary to be left out. I'm sorry, I don't want Deborah to be left out. Deborah, do you have any questions?
You know, I was going to ask, but you sort of answered it. Like, what was the vision, or where you thought you? Because it's the clothes are great, but it's also a new business. So I was wondering, like, what your vision was for the company, and where you thought you would like to take it, or, you know, in the perfect world, what it's going to look like 5 years from now. But maybe that's a bit too long. You sort of addressed it.
Yeah, if you can respond shortly, Undra, that'd be great.
Yes, I'll be brief. I'm sorry for being long-winded, but 5 years from now, I do see the brand is a household go-to name, and that #1, I believe, is done through the communication and through the communicating directly with the customer. But ultimately, it's where I would like to see the brand is a household name online and retail locations in major cities. And that means Brooklyn. I know Brooklyn is not a major city, but Brooklyn,
yes, it is.
Hometown, Washington, D.C., Silicon Valley, and those type of locations. So that's what I hope to see in terms of where we are in 5 years. And I know we can absolutely get there.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Undra. And I'm from New York, not Brooklyn, but I'll give you.
People from Brooklyn think that Brooklyn is the country.
Y'all think it's the end all be all. Those of us from Harlem feel the same. So thank you very much for your presentation. Amazing work. Thanks to the judges for great questions. So once again, the group will get a chance to respond to a poll. Would you recommend this company to an investor? So we look forward to hearing your perspectives and your thoughts on that. And as I said, we will share the results at the end. I do want to just say, while folks are filling out the poll, it is just amazing every single day to see the resilience of entrepreneurs, and obviously not surprising, particularly women. So really grateful to have you with us and be a part of it. So it seems like we may be having some technical difficulties with the poll. So if you want to send your answers in the chat to Travis Smith, if you want to send who you'd vote for directly to Travis, so all panelists just drop it down and pick Travis Smith, just so we can keep it a secret, then we definitely would love to hear who you think. Would you recommend this company to someone else? So next up, and certainly last but not least, I am pleased to present Jamila Achapong from Kahmune.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to apologize in advance for the 7 and 8-year-olds you might hear over the next 12 minutes. But yes, I hope everyone's doing well. Am I okay to start? Oh.
I'm going to defer to Travis. I apologize because the poll did pop up. So Travis, I'll let us know when she can start.
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Oh, no. Can you send me back to the first slide, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so as you all know, my name is Jamila Chompong, and I am the founder and brand director of Kahmune. We are on track to become the world's first luxury marketplace for skin tone footwear and fashion. So my journey with the brand started back in 2016. I was online on social media late one night, and I came across a picture of Kim Kardashian in a full nude or skin tone outfit. Let's just say I was nothing short of inspired, and I wondered why I'd never thought of also wearing a nude outfit. So in that moment, I set out to find products that would be nude on my skin. What I quickly found out, however, was that the fashion and beauty industries are outdated. They were built for a limited number of consumers. So everything from nail polish, lingerie, tights, as you can see here, are formulated with white women in mind. But what does that mean for the rest of us? Like, do our skin tones not matter as well? So what you'll see here on the left is a nude, or shoe lover's dream is finding the perfect nude shoe. So they blend seamlessly into the skin, and in doing such, they elongate the legs, and they also go unequivocally with every single outfit. On the right, you'll see that my reality is nude products are not designed with me in mind. And I also happened to look up the definition of nude, and Merriam-Webster had it cited as having a color such as pale beige or tan that matches the wearer's skin tone. But we all know that skin comes in more shade than pale beige or tan. So in 2016, once my search proved futile, I actually ended up buying a white pair of pumps, buying a pack of paint, mixing the paint to match my skin tone, and painting the shoes to match my skin. And that's how I was forced to acquire my first pair of nude pumps. The one thing I will say, even though they're a little bit splotchy, putting them on and looking in the mirror in that moment, just the feeling I got, the sense of pride, the confidence, I knew that it was a no-brainer and this was something I had to run with. So that's how Kahmune was born. Our motto is 10 Shades, One Mission. We endeavor to provide true nude options for all skin tones, and we're trying to build a community, or as I call our following, our community, who believe in 3 pillars: diversity, representation, and inclusion. So our first product to market has been women's footwear. All of our 10 shades are matched to 3 leading foundations from the market. Last year, I also introduced leather swatches. So for $8, you can come onto our site, you can pick up to 4 shades, and we ship them directly to you to make sure you have your perfect match. All of our pumps retail for $300 a pop, and we currently offer our pump in 4 heel heights. We started with the highest heel, as you can see here, which is just over 4 inches, and now our lowest heel is 50 millimeters, or about 1.5 inches. So each shoe is handmade in Italy by artisans with decades of experience manufacturing for some of the world's most coveted brands. And although Italian production means higher manufacturing costs, I'm okay with this because they're ethically sourced and they adhere to strict European environmental standards. And if I was gonna start a consumer brand, I wanted to do so responsibly. Because we operate on a B2C model, we're able to deliver our products to our community at 1/3 of the price of other high-end footwear brands via our e-commerce site or attendance at one of our pop-up events. My focus on present is on the US market. It has the fastest growth rate on the globe and is currently valued at about $50 billion. Of that, women's luxury shoes are a $12 billion market, and it's projected to grow by 6% annually. And being a woman of color, I know personally the struggle. More than ever, consumers want to see themselves represented in a brand and know that options are being designed specifically with their varied needs in mind, in particular, women of color. So my primary market is Asian, Black, and Latina identifying women. They represent a whopping $3.5 trillion, and their spending power has grown the quickest since the year 2000. And of all women, these three ethnic groups tend to spend the most on shoes and clothing. Projections show that by 2045, the US will be a majority non-white country. So with that said, I'm choosing to focus on a market that I'm calling about, or having a size of around $6 billion. So 75 is the number I want you to focus on. That's the number to date of print and online publications that we've been featured on, but at a cost of less than $1,000. So I've spent out of pocket less than $1,000 and have had the pleasure of being featured in all of these publications. So in terms of traction, we're having about 200% year-on-year growth. Monthly visitors just under 3,000, 28K, and our 2019 returning customer rate was 17%. Naturally, we're not the only brand doing this at the moment, although I would say we are the best. We have the greatest shade offering, and just in terms of quality, I believe I'm very well positioned in the market. As of right now, I also do believe that nude sole on the bottom right is no longer trading. So my team, small but mighty. My background is in finance and accounting. Got my BA from USC and got my master's from Kingston University. And then I've been fortunate enough to work with my product manager, Eric, who has 25 plus years of manufacturing experience in leather goods, and the patience of a saint for putting up with me all these years. So the numbers, which I think you're all wondering about, our first year we did about $8,000 in sales. Was able to triple that to about $32,000 in 2018. Last year, we did about $62,000, and then projections for this year was about $300,000. As I mentioned, we manufacture in Italy, so we've been hit pretty hard by this. All of our factories had to close very early on. So the green line was pre-COVID. The brown line is post-COVID. I can speak more about how we plan on pivoting and what that has looked like for the business a little bit later on. So a few notable moments. February 2017, got a text from a friend and she was like, Khloe Kardashian's talking about you. I was like, how? And turns out Khloe Kardashian did in fact post for a Facebook page. I believe that there were 5,000 shares and 30,000 likes. November 2018, I am the first female founder to be backed by Uber in their Uber pitch competition. February 2019, my first Forbes feature. And then last June, proud to say that Lupita Nyong'o wore our shoes for her appearance on Good Morning America. So in terms of how our customer feels about the product, we've had overwhelmingly positive reviews. Our return rate is about 1%. So the women are getting the product and they're not wanting to return them. So as you can imagine, think about finding your perfect pair of jeans. Once you have, your hands on them, you don't want to let them go. So Maureen, for example, said, thank you so much for taking the time to think of not only me, but all women. Rooting for you. Your vision around nude is superb. So my first ever pitch, a male audience member dubbed us the Fenty Beauty of footwear. So I took it and I'm running with it.
And if you could run to the end, we'd appreciate that, girl.
So that's who we are now. In the future, we want to become the Amazon of skin tone products because I've identified a $260 billion global luxury goods market and a $400 billion global cosmetics market. So if you think Fenty Beauty, Skims, etc., Kahmune would fit right up in there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate it that the curve was still going up, even with COVID. And kudos to your kids, because I didn't really hear them, but that's because we all have our own and we just kind of tune them out. But thank you again so much. So let's go to the judges and we're going to switch it up. And this time, Mary, we're going to start with you.
Beautiful products. Really wanted to kind of explore a little bit more on your marketing. It sounds like you've gotten a lot of attention and it's a real compliment in the context of how much people love your products, but it doesn't look like it's turned into big sales for you yet. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. You've gotten a lot of exposure, but how are you thinking about future marketing and marketing activities that might really impact your sales?
Yeah. So the marketing that I have had to date was a result of me simply posting a picture on Instagram, and an editor at Elle saw it, picked it up, and ran a story. And from there, it kind of snowballed. Within the first month, I had 30,000 visits to my site. However, I did not have product. So since then, it's been kind of a struggle to match up, building my team, building the product, and investing in marketing with having a product in-house to ship. So I'd say that this year would have been the first year we would have been operating formally as a company with inventory in-house and with funds to allocate towards marketing. But of course, COVID has thrown, us for a bit of a curve. So I would say that all of our sales are from word of mouth. So you can only imagine what the sales would be if we did have proper allocations to marketing.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't sure if there was a follow-up. In that case, we will go to Deborah.
Okay, well, yeah, you definitely got your pulse on something, right? Because you're getting just a lot of attention for it. It's a great theme. I read this last night, and I went up to my husband and I said, "So what's nude?" Because, I mean, it's shocking, but this is great. I don't know, did I see what your raise was and what the use of funds was that you were asking for?
No, I unfortunately did not put my ask in there. Before COVID, towards the end of last year, I started a formal seed raise looking to raise $1 million through angel investors. To date, I've raised $50K through grants and $65K from angels. And then the last few weeks, following up with those I reached out to, unfortunately, no one's been in a position to commit, but I was pretty confident that I would have been able to hit that number.
To your credit that you're thinking and you've planned out and you've looked at your forecasts, post-COVID, right? I mean, that does show as an entrepreneur that you are, on top of it and looking at what's important.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Christina.
Yep, thank you. So I actually saw you pitch, I think at Hera Hub maybe a year and a half ago, and just brilliant job. I think you've come a long way.
Thank you.
This slide, I just want to highlight too, your competitive comparison slide was actually really well done. Most of my questions were around that, the different shade types, the price difference, and you nailed all of that in that slide. So great job. My question too is, how do you move from exposure to revenue? And so my question is, what do you think you need? And I heard you say marketing, but what do you think you need beyond that to actually nail your next milestone?
I think it would be kind of a two-pronged approach. So again, to hit on marketing, and then secondly, inventory. I think when I first started out, you see, this article that's been written about the brand, you go to the website and then you can't even find the product that you have in mind. I have 10 shades, I have more than 10 sizes, and then I also have 4 heel heights, flats, and a sandal. So that's a lot of SKUs, that's a lot of inventory that has to be on hand. So I think having inventory and then having a strong marketing push, because as I mentioned before, these women are not returning the shoes because they've been searching sometimes their whole careers for this product. And I'm very proud of the product that I've brought to the market. So we have free shipping and free returns. So it's just a question of, waiting 2 to 3 days to get the shoe, trying it on, sending back anything that doesn't work, and then receiving what does.
Okay. I may have some thoughts for you on that, so I'd love to follow up. And then I guess if you could select any type of partner or partnership to help you scale, have you thought about what that partnership would look like?
Yeah, I've explored influencer marketing. I've actually, last year, I did a lot of work with a lot of national organizations that have a lot of attendees who are professional women, and being a vendor there, I was making, 5 figures in sales in a day. There they are. I'm sorry, where were we?
They did so well, though. They did
so well. We were close.
Let me jump to Alyssa. Oh, well, actually, let me jump to Alyssa and see if you have questions, ma'am.
Yeah, so actually building on the partnerships piece, wondering if you're pursuing any partnerships with Fenty or with any of the makeup brands or any of the new undergarment brands that are also targeting women of color, the shade approach.
Yes, pre-COVID, as well as actually in talks with a Fortune 500 lingerie company, and potentially one of my pivots or future venture would be kind of leasing out my shades, because I have about a 99% shade match rate, right? So if you have a lingerie company who wants to do tights, they're using my 10 shades to produce their tights, or they're using my 10 shades for their lip gloss, for their lingerie as well. Because the nice thing about my brand is, like, you get it close, but for a lot of women, it's almost perfect.
That's a huge value prop. I think that should be shared like very early on in presentations if possible.
Thank you.
Love that feedback. Thank you so much. So we're going to put the poll up, if we can, for the last, if you would recommend this company. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to move us along and talk to the judges. So as some people know, one of this is to have feedback provided to the entrepreneurs and to figure out if this is a pass or if they're going to say yes. And the yes is to continued conversation, which is welcome, because the whole point of this is making a relationship and not just a easy, cheap transaction, but really getting a chance to know the women and really investing in their business financially and non-financially. So with that said, while the folks are filling out the poll, I'm going to go through the companies and ask the judges if they're going to say yes, or if they're going to pass. And so Mary, we'll start with you, and we'll go to the first company of Sarah.
Okay, so sorry, can you repeat exactly what you want me to?
No problem. So the idea here is that we know that there's a lot to still happen in the investment process. And so part of Ureeka Connect is getting the audience and the entrepreneurs to know. So my question, as we kind of do this round robin of all the companies, is to ask each investor per each company if they're interested in continuing the conversation or if they're going to pass at this time.
Yeah, I would be interested in continuing conversation with Wellfound Foods and UC.
Awesome. Okay. See, I love Mary just jumps the gun. I love it. All right. All good. Then we'll keep going that way. So tell us who you want to keep talking to. Christina, how about you?
I'd like to continue with all 3, actually.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Love it. And Alyssa, how about you?
Yeah, I'd love to continue with both Wellfound and Kahmune.
Awesome. Awesome. And then let's see. Oh, Deborah, my how about you?
For me, I'm representing Golden Seeds. So I would take it back to Golden Seeds. And based on that, it would be Wellfound Foods, because as much as I love the other 2 companies, for Golden Seeds, when they're investing in B2C, they're generally looking for someone much further along. So it would be too early for Golden Seeds for these. But Wellfound Foods, which has got a track record of 7 years and is now building on an existing business and, growing into a new distribution, so to speak, that one I think, would sort of reach that, would reach the Golden Seeds criteria.
Awesome. Well, I am grateful to all of you. And I know some of you have to hop because we've all got families. And unfortunately, we stay on Zoom all day. We don't start working until 8. So let me take a special pause to thank our investors, Christina Francis of Pipeline Angels, Alyssa Gill from Next Gen Ventures, Mary Schrader from MCS Ventures, and Deborah Doyle from Golden Seeds. We're not quite done, so don't go away yet, because I want to give a huge round of applause, at least virtually, because once again, we have 100%. I think Deborah's points were well taken and extremely important that we always bring a relatively diverse set of investors in different ranges, and everybody has that criteria, which is why we love having multiple investors and different types of companies, so that ultimately the whole hope here is that we make a match, and we did tonight. I want to congratulate all the presenters, since you have followed with every person, Sarah, Undra, and Jamila. Love that clearly the continent was represented, New York was represented, and everybody did an amazing job, so thank you. And then I'm going to ask Travis if we have the results of the poll to see if you all matched up and to see how you all did in this process. But while we're doing that, I want to thank everyone. I know it's hump day, so happy hump day. I also know people have a lot going on, and our greatest wish for everyone is to stay healthy and most importantly, stay home. So thank you all for joining us. And Travis, do we have, if anybody was close?
Yes, I'm pulling it up right now.
Clearly, the entire world is using Zoom or Google Hangouts, so we're just happy that everybody was able to stay connected throughout the entire show, that's for sure.
Let me know if you can see it.
Not yet. It says you started screen sharing.
Okay, hopefully it's sharing the right thing.
Well, if not, this could be interesting. All right. Who would you recommend? And okay, look at that. 100% would recommend Wellfound Foods, 100% would recommend Undra, and 94% would represent Kahmune. And I would say those are some amazing statistics, particularly because we know women, and particularly women of color, typically don't get that chance. And so that's why we do this. So again, let me say thank you to everyone. Appreciate your patience, appreciate your support. Thank you to the investors. We couldn't do this without you. And thank you to the entrepreneurs. This is a moment in time, and it too shall pass, and we wish you continued success. You have demonstrated poise, integrity, and resilience tonight, and there's not much more we can ask for in an entrepreneur. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you again so much. Everyone have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good to meet everybody.